Mr. Malik, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I know it's been a busy time. So I'd like to begin by asking you, as one of the biggest players in India in waste management, what are your observations on how has solid waste generation habits, patterns, statistics changed in the last 2.5 months?
Yeah, thanks, Afreen. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. The fact is that what we do has probably never been more important than it is today. And waste generation trends that we have seen across the country actually reflect the socioeconomic composition of the catchment. So in the bigger cities, in the urban centers, the large urban centers, we are seeing that the composition is changing because of shutdown of commercial establishments and some of the bulk generators like restaurants or cinema halls, etc., are no longer generating the waste that they were generating. In the small cities, actually the impact is lesser, and the waste composition has not changed very dramatically. If I talk about biomedical waste, then again, it was the smaller healthcare establishments, the clinics, the nursing homes, etc. They were shut down during the a significant portion of this lockdown period, and therefore that waste was not getting generated. In our estimate, that's about 30% of the biomedical waste generation capacity of a particular city or a catchment, and we did not get that waste during this period. Industrial waste obviously did get impacted very significantly during this period. And as industry started coming back on, first the essential industries and then other industries, we have seen waste quantities come back on. Across municipal, biomedical, and industrial, I would say that we're still not at 100% of pre-lockdown waste generation quantities. We're probably at around 90%.
Now that people will come out of their houses, now that waste generation numbers, commercial establishments will open up, private clinics will open up, there's going to be a huge amount of waste that your existing infrastructure will have to cope with. So how are you getting up for that?
I think the response to that is through having a sort of a tiered approach. And right now we're at the first tier of response, which is COVID waste being responded to and treated by traditional biomedical waste infrastructure and capacities.
Yeah.
If that was to be exceeded, the current policies allow for that waste to be handled by common industrial hazardous waste incinerators. Now, just to illustrate, a typical biomedical waste incinerator is between 100 to 250 kilograms per hour operating capacity. So it can deal with 100 to 250 kilograms per hour of waste. An industrial waste incinerator of the types that we operate is 1.5 tons per hour. So there's an order of magnitude capacity arbitrage between a biomedical waste incinerator and an industrial waste incinerator. They operate at the same temperature and they have the same environmental controls and therefore there's no dilution of the treatment efficiency, so to speak. The next level would be if, for example, what we saw in China, where suddenly the waste quantities became 6 times and industrial waste infrastructure was not there in those cities. They took it to waste to energy plants. And the waste to energy plants, incidentally, would operate at 1,200 tons a day, 1,500 tons a day. That level of waste processing capacity they have.
Yeah.
So there is, I think there are tiers of capacity that are there with the right policy framework and the right environmental controls. I think the country is ready to deal with COVID-19 waste.
What has been your biggest learning as a environment expert, as a waste expert? Is there one takeaway from this whole 2 months that will probably drive your thinking as an industry leader in the future?
As a student of this for the last several decades, I can tell you that the one realization that I'm walking away with from the last 2 or 3 months is a sense of amazement about our frontline workers. Somehow I had thought, or I had assumed, that it would be difficult to get so many people to come to work at a time like this. Somehow I had felt that the same hesitation and fear that I felt leaving home, they would also feel. The way they responded, the sense of pride with which they don their uniforms and their personal protective gear, the sense of purpose which drives how they are out on the streets every day, the sense of purpose and pride, that has been a huge learning for me.
In fact, you'll put out a campaign, a video, kind of acknowledging the work they're doing, which I think is worth commending. So thank you very much, Mr. Malik, for taking the time out to talk to us. It's been a pleasure. You always have so many insights, and all the very best with your work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
You too.